Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to officially, I guess, day one. We open on Thursday, so this feels like day 4. My name is Neil McKenzie. I'm the Director of Marketing for Universal Furniture. You are in the Learning Center, and we're really excited to have Nick and this fabulous panel here. I was telling Nick earlier, Nick and I met maybe 8 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
And we started working with him, and it's been really a cool experience. And everyone was so excited to see "sucks" in a tagline for an event. So this should be entertaining. But if anyone would like to stay for lunch after this, please help yourself. Our cafe is located directly across the hall. The showroom itself is 118,000 square feet. There's tons to see here. So if you would like to see anything, simply check in at the front desk, and they will connect you with somebody to get the grand tour. So welcome to Universal. Thank you for coming with us this morning. Nick, thanks for choosing us and picking us to have this, and we look forward to a great conversation.
All right, you can just hand it to maybe Kelly.
I'll take the mic.
Wait. Did I say Kelly?
Who gave it to Kelly?
I'm so happy.
I do want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for taking time out on a 9 o'clock as market is just getting started. I know that this will be a very busy week for everybody. So thanks for taking the time and starting it off right here in our panel, Passion Sucks. It's all about the money, right? So over the years, I have had the opportunity to make some great friendships, and this panel is a really good representative of it. And we're going to have a lot of fun this morning, and hopefully we'll get through all the questions. I have lots of questions. And so our panelists are all going to be nice and share and take really small answers and not talk for like 30 minutes. So
I will
Kelly just needs to pass the mic. Yeah. If we have time at the end, guys, we'll try to open it up for questions at the very end. But I want to really honor your time, and we'll try to get out of here right at the right time. And so, without further ado, what I thought I would have all our panelists start with is just, who are you, why are you here, and why are you qualified to be on this panel?
I don't know how I got here. Somebody just pointed to the building and said, go in, pick up the microphone. Hi, I'm Kelli Ellis. I don't like talking about myself. Can you do an intro for me, please?
Kelli Ellis, she's fabulous, she's everywhere. Done.
No. And we're done. I'm good with that. Interior designer, licensee, author, and do a little TV every so often. That's fun. But enjoy the whole process, even though it is my passion. I like making money at this too. So I actually coach interior designers about business and how to market themselves and make themselves as fabulous as possible, and trying to navigate this crazy field. Yeah.
I'm Nina Magon. I'm from Houston, Texas. Yay! No, I'm from Texas, but I am actually an economics and finance major who then went to interior design school. Quick thing, I was on TV on American Dream Builders with Nate Berkus back in 2013. I was a finalist in that competition. And then one of the biggest projects that I just finished was 5115 Cuisine and Cocktails in Saks Fifth Avenue in Houston, Texas. So I do a lot of residential, commercial, and hospitality design, and I love Texas. Woo!
And nice shoes. Check those out.
That out, yeah.
Woo! It's the Shoe Brigade. Hey, you're cutting into my time. Right. Hi, everyone. I'm Steven Favreau, and I'm based out of Boston. For me, when I think about this panel, the hardest part was this passion sucks, because my new fiance was a monk for 34 years, and so we don't swear in our household, so passion sucks. I was a professional dancer, singer prior to this career. I danced at the Moulin Rouge, and I was a cruise director for a while before I came into interior design, which was always my love. Hey, I got the floor here. So The most exciting thing that's happening right now for me is that I'm opening in Boston the Favreau Factory, which is an 11,000 square foot think tank of myself and a builder, an architect, some high-tech web people, and photographers and things like that, because we believe that the synergies that can come out of that kind of a space are really exciting. So stay tuned for that to launch in January.
And I'm Chad James. I'm based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I have a plethora of clients all over the United States, Cayman Islands, Mexico. I originally, my education is architecture, Auburn University, and about 5 years into that, I was like, why am I designing these places that interior designers are mucking up? So I decided to... There's my truth. Just living my truth. Just living my truth. And so I decided to venture into the interior realm because it's something I really enjoyed. So my company, we do architectural consulting and interiors. I'd say about 75% of our projects are residential, and about 25% are commercial. So yeah.
All right, so how this is going to work is I've got some individual questions for our panelists, and I'm going to start with those. Then I've collected some questions from other interior designers, and so we're going to open the floor up on those, and then we'll see what kind of time we've got left. So I'm going to start with Steven, and so Steven, passion sucks.
Evidently.
What skills have you needed to be successful?
Obviously, it's the business skills. What they don't, as I hire new staff, what I learn is that we all learn the basics of how to put together a CAD drawing in school, but what we don't realize is sort of the day-to-day needs of interior design. But the number one thing that I've really realized over the years is that you're trying to get clients day after day after day. You're looking for the biggest clients, you're looking for the biggest budgets potentially, you're looking for a certain autonomy, right? Because certainly if we get clients who allow us to do that, what we're really good at, the product is that much better. So to me, it's all about how you present yourself and the confidence that you can put out there when you're meeting with your clients. Because I always say that if I'm up against a few other designers, then I'll get the job, because I know how to make them feel confident that I'm going to do the right job for them.
Awesome. Nina, you've been called the #1 contemporary designer in Texas. What have you done to make you and your firm stand out?
Well, I think the first thing is in Texas, being contemporary don't go together.
You're the only one anyway.
The only contemporary!
No, but I am the best. I am the best. I think the two things is that in my firm, we are a 12-person firm in my company, and we have a no-nonsense policy, which means that don't fool around. Don't fool around with the clients. Don't fool around with the money, and make sure that we deliver the best customer service. Has anyone ever been on a cruise ship before?
Never been.
Never been? Huh? You've never been?
I was a cruise director.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm not listening. Okay, so when you've been on a cruise, the service that you get on a cruise ship, a lot of them, especially when you go Royal Caribbean or any kind of Asian cruise line, the service that you get is impeccable. That's how my firm serves. We are all part of the brand. They all believe in me, and we all react to the customer the same way. And I think the other thing is that I have a very international team. So, since we are contemporary, I purposely hired people who not only believe in my brand, but also believe in this modern and forward-thinking design, which is what really contemporary is. And so I have 4 Colombians, 2 Indians, I'm one of them. I have 1 Chinese, and then 3 North Americans. So, and they all are actually educated from their countries when they came here. So we get a completely different perspective of architecture and design in our firm, and I think that's really what sets us apart from everyone else. And that's why I am #1, not the only one.
All right, so we're going to go over to Kelli. Kelli, when in your career did you start to feel successful?
Ooh.
Tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Next year. Let's see. When I started getting knocked off.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. And I don't see it as a negative thing so much, because we broadcast so much of what we do. We're constantly sharing it. We're constantly taking photos. Look at me is really what we do. We like to share. We want to get published, fill in the blanks. So I don't see it as an insult. It's like the imitation is the best flattery. So that's when I really could see when people were starting to design like me or give me shout outs for my designs. That really felt strong. Even though I started my career in TV, you would think that would be cool, and it really wasn't until then. It's cool.
Awesome. Chad, you work with some high-profile / celebrity clients. A, can you share some of those names? And B, how did you start making that happen?
Early in my career, I had the fortune of working for a firm that we had celebrity clients. And, we never really toss names around because we all, like everyone here, we work under a confidentiality agreement. And so for so long, I've not really been able to talk about my work, or I've not been able to publish my work, which has been fine for me because, I kind of come from the mindset of keep your head down and work hard and stay humble, and, it's not about me, it's about the client, and, all that stuff. So, but when I started this current firm that I own, it's 7 years old this March, I instituted in my letter of agreement that I had control, basically, for any client that came to me. I didn't care if you were the president. I had control of all of my imagery. I had control of who got to see it. I had control of who knew I worked with you. And so I've never had a client to date that, knock on wood somewhere, that has turned us down because of that. So we have, Joan Rivers is one of my former clients from when I lived in New York, and Kevin Spacey, and, then Nashville, Luke Bryan, and Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, and Martina McBride, and, you've got all the country people there. So, but then we also, our company is not just celebrity clientele. We have, one of my clients is and I hate talking like this because I feel like I'm boasting, but one of our clients owns more Taco Bells than anybody in the world. And I'm going to tell you something. I love that because the secret is that Taco Bell is honestly my secret, it's the cat's out of the bag. I'll just tell you. If I've been drinking, I'm going to Taco Bell. And as a pescatarian, Taco Bell's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but at the same time, cheese quesadillas, they hit the spot. So anyway, when I got this client, bring it full circle, when I got this client, I didn't ask what he did, I didn't really care, but at the same time, when it all, unfolded, No, but they did recently ask if we would be interested in doing a rebrand of all these stores that are happening in Canada and Mexico, which I don't know that that's really what on my resume, but at the same time, yeah. So yeah, no.
Really? So, Miss Kelli Ellis, you are master of self-promotion, and you do not have a PR agency or publicist.
Nope.
How do you do it?
I don't know. I call it the raindrop effect. So, people say, oh, I'm just going to do a little article, or oh, it was just a post, or I spent 10 minutes doing fill in the blank. When people reach out to you, want you to do something. But if you do enough of them, it's a rainstorm. And you talk about it, and then you recycle it, and then you pick a bucket up of all those raindrops, and then you throw it on someone's head. And then they're wet from all of the things you've done. Because I hear a lot, oh, you're everywhere. You're everywhere. It's so cool. You're doing so many things, and it seems that way. But being able to parlay all of the small things that you do, they are not small. In fact, you need to look at every single thing that has your name on it, anywhere, and look at that as a marketing opportunity. Because you've done something, so take it and use it. It could be a little mention in a local blurb. Go call up the local news or whoever wrote that article, get the article, get some footage behind it, talk about it, create a movie clip, post that, then you post the picture of it, that's another post. You can make 5 posts out of every single thing that you do. And it becomes much bigger than it appears, but you're also being very honest as well. But that's how you do self-promotion. And it did start that way. I did start my career on TV. So my designing career started on TLC in a show called Clean Sweep. If anybody watched 2 Days, 2 Rooms, $2,000, that was me. I had brown hair at that point, so you would not know, but if you look back, go, oh my gosh, that was her. And I started doing the television, which was great, but it's not something that really gets you noticed unless you know. And I learned, wow, I have to take this TV thing, because it doesn't last, and parlay it, because there's so many people, as you know, you're on and then you're off. And it's not evergreen. TV's not evergreen, but social media is evergreen. So when social media began, I began. And I really learned to parlay everything that I did to showcase what I do. Because if you're interested in licensing, you have to do that. That was my interest. I was interested in licensing so that I could sleep in what I call it mailbox money. I want mailbox money. I'm only as good as my car will take me, right? Or if I'm willing to do online design, which is a whole nother topic. But I really wanted to be able to make money when I was sleeping, doing the things that I love, right? So that's it. That's exactly the name of the game. So for me, that was in licensing. And the only way to look good and attractive to somebody who wants to license you and your name is to become a name in some way, shape, or form. So it starts with those raindrops and create the waterfall.
Awesome. Nina, how do you get the phone to ring and get new clients?
Okay, so I think the first thing is that you have to make your current clients very happy. If they are not satisfied, you're in big trouble. I've only fired one client in my entire life, and that's because he was abusing some of the people in my firm. And so I told him that, you know what, I have to fire you. I don't want your money. I don't want anything to do with you, because it was not worth the amount of time to take care of him. So I think the one thing is you definitely have to take care of your current clients, because they're your biggest word of mouth more than anything else. I do a lot of stuff on social media. Actually, this beautiful lady was with me in Barcelona, and she was looking at my Instagram. I still remember that. She was looking at my Instagram, and she's like, I don't like your Instagram. It needs to be more about you and not about your product. It needs to be more about you. You don't have any emotion in here. There's pictures of a bunch of beautiful rooms, but where are you? And I'm like, nobody cares about me. And she's like, yes, they do. Yes, they do. So it's very much about you. So social media has been a big thing. She helped me. I gained some followers thanks to her. So, I think social media is big. Actually, even sharing on your personal social media, Facebook, actually helps a lot, because friends of friends of friends tell somebody, and all of a sudden you get a job, and that's how I got Saks Fifth Avenue in Houston. So it was a friend who recommended me to the owner of the restaurant in Saks. And then, I met with Saks in New York, and then all of a sudden I had a big job. So I think you have to look at all of your avenues. Social media is huge. LinkedIn is a big one too. That's how you get clients. But you have to be kind to everyone. And I think the biggest thing is you have to be humble. As much as you grow, don't have a big ego, because people tend to get sick of it. That was cool like when we were 15, but it's not cool anymore. So just try to be humble and be nice, and I think that's the best way to get clients, is be authentic and be a good person.
Love it. Steven, your business is a little different than most. What have you done to diversify, and how has that made you successful?
Good question. I went to FIT, but I started my interior design business in San Jose. And just a roundabout way of I was working as director of marketing and fundraising for a very big not-for-profit theater out there. But I said to them when they asked me to be involved, okay, but I need to also start my design company. And very soon thereafter, seeing as I was in California, realtors were saying to me, will you stage for me? And I was like, yeah, what's that? I'll stage for you. So I started staging, and suddenly I had one of the largest staging companies in San Francisco, and we do about 135 houses a year out of a warehouse where we own all our own furniture, which is key. But to your point, Nick, I feel like staging is one of the best kept secrets for interior designers. I also feel that on some level we're kind of like, I don't want to tell anyone I stage, that's not interior design. But when I first started, 85 to 90% of my business came out of staging. And so this is something not to be ignored, because there are ways to do staging, especially as we move forward with social media and with all of the platforms that are now available, and especially now that I'm in Boston, where those Yankee folk don't even know from staging, there are opportunities there. So that's one of the ways. But and just to riff a little bit on the previous question is that it used to be that we were referrals, right? So it is important to take care of your clients, but now it's becoming social media. So if you're not doing it, get on board fast.
All right, Chad, why do you have so much repeat and referral work?
Because, Nick, I'm good. No, sorry. No, honestly, you know what? One of my business associates did studies on our company, and this company is my second to own, and I've been a partner in another. But this company is 7 years old, and over the past 7 years, we've had, well, really over the past 15 years, because I brought people with me, but we have an 88% return rate with our clients. To answer your question, how that happens is, it goes back to what you said. We are a full-service architectural consulting and design firm, but at the same time, I mean, our clients hire us to do turnkey interiors and design. What is turnkey interiors and design? I mean, a lot of our clients have multiple homes, so when they arrive, literally, they're there to vacation, they're there to have fun, and so when they arrive, their favorite food is in the refrigerator. I mean, their favorite alcohol, and I mean, it's all there. I mean, down to the, towels. I mean, I iron, I mean, when we're doing installation, it's all hands on deck, and it is, people think that my job is, oh my God, I want to do what you do. I'm like, bitch, you don't even know. Honey, listen. Let's keep it real. I'll keep it real with you. I mean, if it's 2 hours. I mean, this literally happened to me. I'm not kidding. This happened in Chicago. I have clients that are flying in for the big reveal. They're coming up the elevator to the 37th floor. Okay, we've been there for 2 weeks installing this home, and I just casually walked by the powder room. And I notice that there is urine. I'm not kidding. There's urine all over the toilet. It's on the floor. It's on the wall. And they're coming up the elevator. We'd had some workers in, and obviously somebody got out of control. And so what did I do? I mean, I didn't call for the housekeeper. I mean, I went and got, clean Clorox and gloved up and did it, So, I am very blessed to have a great body of work and amazing clients, and my staff is, I would dare to say, they are the best staff in the world. They're my family, but at the same time, at the end of the day, when it all gets real, when pee gets real, you clean it up. So, to answer your question, full circle, I think that the reason why we have so much return is because our clients see us not only as, and I don't think they understand this, but when we have a problem, my client never knows about it. When that fabric doesn't show up, or it's back ordered for 10 weeks and you've got to have it in 2, you know what? We're pulling wing samples down. I mean, we keep the client in Happyville as much as possible, and we don't engage them with problems until we absolutely have to. We're not trying to hide from them, but at the same time, they're paying us a lot of money to be a service. And my mentor taught me years ago, Landy Gardner, I'll never forget the day he said this to me. He said, you need to remember something. We are a service industry. Now, mind you, we are the only service industry that is invited to the dinner table, but we are still the service industry. So I think that's the reason why, service.
I love it. All right, so we've gathered today to talk about how are we successful. So I've got some questions about that. Nina, you get to be on the hot seat now. A, would you be willing to share with us your gross rev number?
Girl, don't do it if you don't want to. Say no.
There's lots of ups and downs, and there's like an average. It's a good revenue number. It's a good.
It's in the black.
It's a good number. It's in this 6 digits, 7 digits, 7 digits. No, 6 million, 7. It's in the 7 digits. It's been good. It's been very good.
All right. What do you shoot for percentage-wise to make on a project?
I think every project for us, we shoot for 35%. We shoot for 35% to make on the project. I think that I think the average is anywhere between 20 and 40%, if I'm correct. We shoot for about 35%. If we get 30% on the project, we're good. But on our markups, for instance, like we charge an hourly rate. I can give you that. We charge $250 an hour across the board. So every single team member of my 12-person team charged $250 an hour. We don't have an assistant, a junior designer. I don't do any of that nonsense. And the reason why is because when I did do it, we had issues with our clients. Our clients would look at the billing sheet and they would say, well, you weren't there and this person was there, so you need to bill me $100, not $175. And it was creating so much chaos and so much confusion that I got rid of that. And I said, you know what? Since we are the #1 contemporary designer in Texas, I'm kidding. We said that we're just going to go ahead and streamline it because I am involved in every single project anyways, and everyone is an extension of me in that company, so they believe in the brand. So because of that, we do $250 across the board. We do have a minimum. We don't do anything less than 20 grand on a project. We prefer whole house contracts. So if you're not giving us the whole house contract, depending on if they meet the minimum or not, we'll decide if we want to take the project or not, if we need it or we don't need it. We like the high profile projects because those are the projects that are going to get us published and get our name out there and intensify the brand a little bit more. And so we charge $250 an hour with a minimum of $20,000, and then we have a 30 to 35% markup on the furniture. So if my wholesale price if it's $100 and I have a wholesale price of $50, for example, then the client can see the $50. We charge 35% on top of that. We're very transparent. We don't try to hide anything. The client can see the invoice. I don't care. They're still getting a better price than they would for retail, and I'm getting my markup, so we're covered.
Awesome. Kelly, what does success look like to you?
Mailbox money. Really. I really, when I start seeing the checks rolling in, on a monthly basis for things that I did 6 months ago, that's great for me because that I see a vacation with my husband, I see visiting my daughter in Europe, I see, being able to do the things that you go, oh wow, I really just want to take time off. Philanthropy is really big for me as well. So when I have time and money to spend on a charity that I'm on the board of directors of, that's huge for me. Being able to spend more time and money on that is successful for me. So it's that extra, the money that I am still making off of projects I did up to 6 months to a year ago. Oh, and or licensing. I have an art line with Left Bank, an upcoming line with Sunpan in April, things like that, where I know they're going to, do the mailbox money and allow me to have more freedom to spend time doing what I want to do, which is mostly philanthropy. Yeah, that's it for me. But obviously, that's the passion part for me. But getting to that point is where when someone says to me, "Wow, we really want you to do a line of fill in the blank," I'm delighted. And I'm not saying you're getting rich off of it, but it's compounded, right? So if there's more than one, I'm happy. The more that I have, the better. And if I obviously have to put my stamp on it. So if somebody wants my design opinion on something, I'm still creating, I'm still painting, I'm still drawing. Happy camper. I'm successful.
Chad, what's the worst business decision you've ever made?
Wow, you didn't share that question with me
I
in
know,
the preview.
sorry. I had to change things up a little bit because you guys already answered some of the other questions.
Yeah.
So, surprise!
The worst business decision I've ever made. Is that the question? Wow, that's a hard one. Because I do pride myself in being a good business person. And in this creative world and industry that we're all in, you have so many, we have this, we've kind of been dubbed as, oh, well, creatives are not smart in business. And so I very early on made the decision that I would, live within my means. My company would live within their means. And I would try to be wise. To answer your question, though, the worst business decision I've ever made is I hired a friend.
That doesn't hit home
Y'all,
for
it
anybody.
was okay. It was no. You know, I hired a friend, and you know, the reason why it was the worst is because we went into an agreement together, and this person's very talented, and I love her to death, and she is still. We made it through, and she does not work for me anymore, work with me anymore. But we went into this agreement with a pretty ironclad agreement. I mean, this is what you will do, this is what I will do, this is how this will work. And, you know, things just got blurry. And I'm the type person, the way that I run my team is, our motto is, if it's not fun, we're not doing it. I've worked for 3 major firms in my career. This month started my 20th year. I know you can't believe it because I look so young, but I'm in my 20th year of this industry, and I've worked for 3 major firms, and I've made 3 firms a lot of money. And so but I was really miserable in some of those situations. So our company's motto is, if it's not fun, we're not doing it. And I'm not kidding. I know we're talking about it's all about the money, but for me, it really is about my sanity. It is about my, you know, like, so cliche, life is short, but it really, really is. And if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. I don't care if you have billions and, you know, you're dangling it out. It's not going to happen. So hiring the friend, bringing that full circle, hiring the friend was part of me understanding that it wasn't fun, so we're not going to do it. And that's actually when that kind of, that motto came into play.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Nice. Steven, this is a question from some interior designers. So, like folks like you, is social media where it's at, or should we be focusing on something else that will generate more net income?
Yes, no.
Done.
We've talked a lot about this today, right? Social media is where it's at. And should we be focusing on something else? No, not something else, but other things, of course, along the way. We can't lose focus of that. Networking is still important. A certain amount of hanging out with our friends at places like High Point are really important. I mean, just walking in this room today, the sort of the ideas, the synergies, the exciting things. I met Joe over here who's doing amazing things with platforms online. And so we can't begin to even know what paying for that plane ride and coming down to beautiful High Point can do for us until we do it. So yes to social media and yes to some of the other stuff.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're into these questions, so I don't have them in specific. So you guys can, whoever wants to answer this can answer this. How did you know when to hire your first employee? I get that question a lot, actually.
You know, when my story's a little different because I was with a large firm before I started this company that had actually, I had a previous company, and they actually bought my previous company because we were doing so much work. They were architecture, I was interiors, I was doing a lot of interior work. They were like, this doesn't make sense, we should join together, so we did. I did that for 4 years. Long story short that I made long. You know, when I left that company, I made the decision I was going to take 6 months off because I was exhausted. I had traveled the world and just was tired. And so in month 3 of my sabbatical, a client from New York called and said, listen, baby, we got work to do. You need to jump. So I was like, okay, this is a 8,000 square foot penthouse in New York. I can't do this by myself. So, I started calling and started interviewing. And so right out of the gate with this company, I knew that I had to hire a staff because, I work hard, but at the same time, I know my weaks, I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. And so I know to keep our clients happy, you've got to do what you do well and then put people in the place to do those things that you really suck at. Put those people in those places that do that really well, and you know what? It makes you and your company and your brand just, shine, and then you're on a panel with all these great people, and that's how it works. So,
anybody else?
Well, I would just add to that we are one person, And so our businesses can only grow so far until we are willing to start bringing staff members on board and nurturing them to develop our business behind the scenes while we're doing what we do so well as business developers and personalities and online and some of the stuff that maybe we feel even more passionate about now as we move forward. For some of you may know the Baroness sitting over here, Robin Barron. What I've really enjoyed watching her is as she has branched out into creating her beautiful new furniture line and doing more social media and going after television, she's developed a staff that she can truly count on. And I know this because I just spent 10 days with her in Barcelona in southern France, and she was never stressed out because she knew that they had her back. And there's nothing better than that because now she's going to soar even higher.
Yep. So this is a follow-up question. I want the mic to go down to Kelli. She probably has the smallest staff.
Yep.
Correct?
Correct.
Up there?
Yep.
You run your business completely different.
I do.
How do you manage to do all the things you do with such a small staff?
I just hired a full-time assistant this year. And I've been doing this since 1999. I have 3 hotels, 4 complete new construction homes, 12,000 square feet and over, all of them. And then the TV, still taping for HGTV. I am really good with my time. And literally, I never meet anybody on Monday. Monday I do this, Tuesday I do this. And so I only hired, and it's my daughter, by the way. She's 21, my 21-year-old daughter, who is a graphic designer and phenomenal designer. She will take over the business and make it incredible. I only did that because I was speaking internationally more and had to get things done while I was gone. And that is the only reason that I hired somebody, because I am a control freak, apparently. Apparently I have issues. So that's a whole other thing I need to go to therapy for. But yeah, I do run things differently. I just like a really small, tight ship. I like to know what's happening. I am involved in everything like you, and I know you all are, even if you have staff. But I have to say this. When I say full-time, she's with me full-time. I do have people. I have my CAD artist, but she doesn't come into the office every day. I give her projects. I have some sourcing people that don't come into the office every day. So there are people that I use and utilize. I call them contractors rather than employees, because that's really kind of what everybody is. You know, my accountant lives in Tennessee, and they're everywhere. So I have people. They're just not sitting under the same roof with me all the time, because I live in 2 homes. I live in Las Vegas and Southern California. So I'm bounced back and forth. And so that was one of the biggest challenges for me, actually having a, quote, office, because I moved so much that what was I going to have 2 running offices with all these people buzzing around in them? Well, no. So that really is why I was moving around so much, living in different places, that it didn't make any sense. But until I got so busy traveling that I actually had to have somebody running things while I was gone. But I'm very specific about my time. Can you meet? And if it's on a day that I'm at home working on projects or drawing or sketching, and yeah, that's not to mention the licensing stuff and doing all the drawings and stuff. So if I'm doing that, I'm not meeting, I'm not taking calls. You'll see if you email me that I have a responder, and everybody hates it, but I don't care. I highly recommend it. I really do. It says that we check our emails twice a day, and we'll get back to you when we can. That's it. Don't expect me to be picking up the phone. I mean, I get a text message from all of you who know my cell phone number and go, look, if I get that responder one more time, you're out. I'm not doing it. But you'll get the responder because it buys us time. I mean, how did we run businesses before we had our cell phones attached to us? Everything still happened, by the way. And the fact that you had to pick up a phone when you got back to the office, it's okay. But we all have this guilt complex about not answering the phone right away, not responding right away, feeling like you're going to lose a job or a client if you're not picking up the phone the second they call. And it's just not the case. They know your work, they know who you are, they know you're great, they want you, they've left you a message. They can wait an hour. Go have lunch. Go take a walk outside, do something else, but get your sanity back. Yeah, there has to be a balance, a big life balance. And so, yeah, I've just recently hired somebody to help me take a walk and breathe.
I actually want an autoresponder on my phone for text messaging.
Yeah, there is one.
There is?
Yeah. absolutely.
You have to show me later.
Yeah, we'll hook you up. It's
All
a
right.
great thing.
So I wanted to show that because now you have no excuses. So if you've been sitting there thinking, well, I don't have a team, I can't do what Chad does because I don't have a team, here are no excuses. This woman has done it, and she's super successful. So another question, I'm just curious about, this was one that came in from one of the designers. Tell us about a time when you felt like you had no idea what you were doing, but you winged it and you made it through.
All the time. All the time. You know, I had never done a restaurant in my life, and somehow I told you the restaurant that I got. So I had never done a restaurant in my life, and the saying "fake it till you make it." I was like, "Oh yeah, I can do a restaurant. Oh yeah, I can do anything. I can do it. I can do it." And you know, you just have to believe in yourself, and you have to figure out how to do it. I think that's part of our, of our team, is that if we don't know something, there is somebody who does know how to do it. So go and ask them. Go get consulting. Go figure it out, because Google it. There's nothing, I really believe that there's nothing that you can't do in this day and age because you can figure out how to do it. And so if you can imagine, that place opened on time with not a single mistake in that whole place. So thank you. At least not a single mistake that any normal person could notice. But it looks fabulous. It was an interior design magazine. You know, I got a lot of props for that place, and then because of that, I'm doing 7 more restaurants for that same group. So, like I said, if you don't know how to do it, and that's part of our team policy, which what you were talking about earlier, is that, when I first started, I didn't know how to use SketchUp. And I was like, I know how to use CAD, I know how to design, I don't know how to do SketchUp. So my first hire was somebody who knew how to do SketchUp, because that's what you want to hire. You don't want to hire somebody who's you. You want to hire somebody to do all the things that you don't know how to do so that you become a complete team. And that's how we faked it until we finally made it.
Anybody else have a good one?
I was just going to say, you use the fake it till you make it. I like to say, how hard can it be, right? So in other words, you say yes, you sign the agreement, and then you Google, or you just figure it out, right? And that's the mark of an entrepreneur. And if you want to run your own business, that's what you have to do.
Yes. I had to look up FF&E, my first hotel.
Same here. Same here.
I did. I was in a meeting. I don't need a microphone. I don't need a microphone. I'm gonna do my pen.
We're recording, yes.
I know. I was in a meeting with operations. I'm like, who are these people? Operations for the hotel. No idea. Then everybody kept popping around the FF&E. I was like, what is that? And they kept looking at me afterwards. So the FF&E. Oh, that's me. I'm the FF. Yes, of course. Yes. It'll be there. It was horrible. It was horrible. And then, of course, I'm on my smartphone. Like, looking it up. I have to look it up.
That is
What the hell is
great.
FF&E? So, yeah, Google it.
That is
Best
great.
advice.
I have to say, so I love Kelly. She's just
Very
she's
honest.
so real.
Very honest
When I
about it.
came kind of into this interior design space, I didn't know what anything was, and I was very intimidated. But on the podcast, whenever somebody says something like FF&E,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, whoa, time out. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of people that listen to the show
Right.
don't necessarily
Right.
know.
Right.
I remember the first time someone was talking, they go, oh, and in our library. And I'm like, what the hell is a library? Like, are you going downtown, like driving? Like what? So what do you mean by a library?
What are books?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Let's see. What is something that you held off doing early on in your business, but you wish you'd have done it sooner?
Hire someone. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna expound on that a little bit. That's actually true. For a lot of points, looking back, I could definitely have used a second person there to bounce off of more than anything. Because it's hard to know when you're in your own headspace. A lot of the times, is this going to be right? Is this, good design? Am I forward thinking enough? Fill in the blank when you start, running through your own brain as to whether or not something is going to work out. And so it's always nice to have another set of eyes, or at least a friend you can trust if you are working on your own, somebody that you know and love. Because long gone are the days where we used to. I know some of you remember this, and I do. When I first started out in 1999, and I'd go to the design center, nobody was sharing anything. it was almost like you're taking a test. Around, like hiding their what they're doing at the tables, no one would share anything. And now we can call each other up and go, okay, do you know the best source for fill in the blank? Because we just don't know it. I don't know everything. I call my friends all the time. What's the fill in the blank? And of course, because you learn, you travel, you meet people, you are more informed, then you can find out. Or if you have websites or sources or social media sites that give you the sources, things are way different now. You can find out the information quite easily, but having somebody to bounce things off of, I could have done that a lot sooner, I think. Any of you?
I'd like to hear from everybody on this one.
Yeah. What was the question again? I'm the cruise director. And please no. Just passed the
What's the?
yeah. What do you? Something that you wish you'd done sooner?
I wish I went to interior design school sooner. I graduated from Southern Methodist University in Dallas in economics and finance. And then I opened up my own store in the Houston Galleria, which was a European lingerie store, because I wanted to compete against Victoria's Secrets. So I thought that there's nothing else available. So let me go ahead and open up a lingerie store. And then after that, I actually started building my first spec home. I hired a superintendent, I got some financing, and I started building a house because I thought real estate was where it's at. And I come from a family background of real estate. So then I learned interior design while I was building the house. And then I went to design school. So it was kind of a progression to get me to where I am now. I wish I studied interior design and then did my master's in design. But by the time I finished interior design school, girl, I was done with school. I am not doing, my dad was like, are you going to be a permanent student? Because economics, finance, and now interior design. And, it's helped me a lot because I get the business side and I get the creative side. And, but I wish I went to school I wish I was, 18 and went to interior design school.
All right, for all you publicists in the room who were a little deflated by Kelli Ellis's announcement that she doesn't use a publicist, I would say hire a publicist. Because when I started my business in San Francisco, I kind of toiled away for a good 7+ years. And then when I opened my office in Boston, I hired a publicist. And what it took me 7 years to do in San Francisco, I did in 7 months in Boston. So it's one of the things, because, you publicists are expensive. So, but it's the money well spent. So if there's any way you can figure out, don't hire staff and use contractors and hire a publicist, then do it, because they can open doors, especially with what's happening now, again, with social media and all of this going on online. So definitely would have done that very soon out of the gate.
I'll take mine a little more introspective. I wish that at 42 years old, that when I was when I was 25, I wish that I would have chilled out, I was so high strung. I was so just driven. Like, I had no time for anything, honestly. And so I lost my dad. I'm not going to get all sad with you, but I lost my dad in December. And I kind of looking at that, it kind of has made me kind of stop and think about life and think about, all these things. And I'm very thankful for my business, don't get me wrong. And I'm thankful that I worked really, really hard for where we are. But I do wish that I would have very early on even in this company, I wish I would have just chilled out, It's okay. It's going to be all right, And so now I'm at a very different place, I'm not lackadaisical by any means, and I'm still very driven, and I'm still very, type A at times, and a perfectionist at times. But, things don't really affect me like they used to. And I don't know if that's because I'm getting older. I don't know what it is. But I know that, we all get in these moments where, like, oh, my gosh, what's the next project going to be? Or, where am I traveling to, and how am I going to do it? You get all in this, wound up, and, oh, my gosh, that sofa's not going to arrive in time. What I found is that our clients are very, very forgiving as long as you're honest with them. Yeah. As long as you're forthright and you tell them the story and tell them what's going on. I mean, they're pretty forgiving, And if they're not, that's another story. But at the same time, I do wish that I would have chilled out a little more earlier in my career.
Yeah. That's the best and maybe the only good thing about getting older, I think. is you just start to chill out and start to know it's all going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, that concludes all the questions that I have, and I'm assuming in a room this large, we probably have a couple of questions. And what I would ask you to do, if you have a question, if you would stand up, we'll have one right back there, stand up and say really loud, because we don't have a traveling microphone, so we can all hear you.
Thank you all for your great advice. My question is, I've heard one of you has children. I don't know about the rest of you. How do you combine the interior design business, being a parent, and the guilt trip of not being at that fill in the blank event of the kid, and your life is not forever, and they're not sick for so long. So how do you make it happen, I guess?
Yeah, you have little ones.
Yeah, so actually, I just had exactly what you're talking about before I came here. I was regretting in the airplane, why am I going to High Point to talk? I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I keep on missing my son's games because he's in soccer. He has a soccer game every Saturday. And, it's just, I go back and forth, and when I'm with them, then I'm guilty. Why am I not working? When I'm not with them, then I feel like I should be with them. And it's a constant thing of a working mom, especially if you're ambitious. I don't think I was born to be a stay-at-home mom. I don't think I could. I can't do it. It's not in me. I have too much ambition. Sometimes I feel like I'm selfish, and I'm doing this for my own good because, why do we work? We work for money. We work for pleasure. We work for self-satisfaction, and that's why we work. And, so some of it is selfish motives because I want to become a big designer. I want to have a name for myself, and I think a lot of working moms feel like that, especially if you have that ambition. But for me, what I've done is, as soon as I get home every day, I come home every day at 5. I know that's late, but I work from 8 to 5. I go to the gym after I drop off the kids from school. So I come home at 5 and I throw my phone away. Because those text messages from the clients, from everybody, I put my phone away and I spend a good 2 hours with my kids so that they never feel like they're not loved. If they want to sleep with me one night, I'm fine with it. It doesn't matter. I sleep with them all the time. I tell them I love them. I'm very affectionate with my kids. I give them lots of hugs and kisses. But I have read a lot of articles about this, whether it be right or wrong. I have read a lot of articles that a working mother has a lot of, a working mother is very influential, especially on a daughter. And my grandma worked, my mother worked and started her own business. And, I want my daughter to feel, especially being an Indian, I'm Indian, and being a minority, being a woman minority and being a minority, it's a double whammy against me. So, I want my daughter to feel that there's nothing that she can't do. And if she sees her mother traveling and she sees me doing all these things, she gets inspiration. She's 6 years old. She wants to be a YouTube star because she sees her mama on TV, And she's like, I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be a YouTube star and sell those fidget spinners or whatever they are, And so I think there is guilt and there are things that you can't manage, but it's your life too. When they go to college, what the hell are you going to do? Sit at home and watch TV? Yeah. Like, you have to have your own ambition, and you don't know what you're doing for your children. Especially if you go to New York, you see all these ladies, they all work. In Texas, everybody's like, in my school, they go to private school, and moms are like, we're going to go have coffee. And I'm like, I'm working. I don't have time for coffee. So it's a balance. You have to find that balance, but you are going to feel guilty. There's nothing you can do about it, but you are instilling something in your children that you don't realize. So,
yeah. I just want to speak to that a little bit. It's scary. I have 2 girls now. They're 21 and 22. And so they're like my Irish twins, right? And it was they were 3 and 4 when I first got the TLC show. So I would be gone from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. when I would shoot. And I was single mom at the time. So I had my nanny / assistant at the time who, thank God for her, and she started off as the babysitter and just morphed into, I need you all day, whenever those days would pop up, when I would be gone doing the things I did. And it was awful. The kids hated it. I hated it, but I knew it was temporary. And so, to your point, you make up, for the hours that you can, really, really focus on them, do something that they want to do so they don't feel so awful to get through it. But I will say this in hindsight. So now that my girls are older and they can reflect, not the you weren't there, but now I have letters and notes from school who is your hero in your life, and it's me. To get that note that one is a major entrepreneur major, graduated college, lives in Barcelona, works for a major high-tech firm, and the other one is graphic designer. Now she's working for me. But it's to see them succeed and have a really strong personalities. They're making it, they're doing it, and then they thank me for it. That you just have to know that later on, you're giving the best example you possibly can of having a well-rounded life, because it's a really tough choice. It's hard to do. Yeah. Hands.
One of the things that we always struggle with in our business is from when we first sign a contract with a client to what an acceptable amount of time is before you start making that initial presentation of ideas.
This is one of the things, this is another good thing about getting older, is experience, right? So you start to understand people better, you start to understand maybe psychology a little bit more, you understand the process, you feel more comfortable with yourself. So what I do, and I'm sure a lot of the more established designers like this panel do, is we spend the first couple of weeks training the client, right? So it's all about discovery, is what I call it. I call it discovery to the client, and then in our office I'd probably call it something else, I don't know, training the client. But it's all about getting inside their head, of course, but most importantly, it's about telling them what to expect every step of the way and reminding them every step of the way, and also saying, see, this is what I was talking about a week and a half ago when we first started this. This is it. And I always say, things are going to go wrong. We will work our hardest for you, but things will go wrong, and we're going to try to buffer you, and we're going to try to make it the most exciting process possible. So for me, to really go to your point, I would say that we bring in the first sort of stack of the world of possibilities, which is just a big mess of stuff in a bag, really. And we sit down, hopefully with a glass of wine, because I find if you can meet around 5:36 with your clients and you get that glass of wine on the table and you chat for a few minutes so they really get that wine inside them, then they're really great. And so
They'll say yes to everything.
Right, they'll say yes to everything, but they relax, they're courageous, they're fun, they're open, you become friends right off the bat, real important actually. And we just do the yes, no, love it, don't love it, why don't you love it, what do you love about this? So I think that for my company, we do that at least within 2 weeks, maybe sooner, to get moving.
I'll totally agree. We always talk about how it's about establishing realistic expectations. And I've said it already today. It's all about being transparent and being forthright. And if you have a client, when you meet them and you can already tell that they're anxiety-filled and they're trying to get things done before Christmas and it's November 1st, you got to, sister, that's not going to happen. But Christmas is going to be out. It's baby Jesus is still going to be okay, So, I feel like you just have to establish realistic expectations. That's what it's about. But like you said, we're normally right now I'm on 5 weeks of 15 weeks of travel. So, it's also because I present every project that we have. No matter who's doing it in our group, I still present.
So you tell them ahead of time, I'm traveling.
Exactly. My assistant, here's the other thing. I do not set any appointment in my life. None. And the reason being is because if you can't tell, I'm a little ADD and I'm all over the board. And, I'm in the past have set 4 appointments for the same time and not shown up to 3. And then I've got mad clients. And so anyway, again, it all goes back to my assistant who establishes the realistic expectation from the very beginning.
Awesome. So I just want to bring your attention that it is 12 o'clock. I'm going to allow for a few more questions here in a second, if the panels are okay with staying for a couple more minutes. I've seen a couple of people I've seen a couple people walk out. I actually didn't tell you guys what I do at the beginning, and so before anybody else leaves, I got to tell you that I run a podcast.
Stripper by night.
But I run a podcast called the Chaise Lounge. You can search on iTunes for that. And most of these folks have been on my show already. Steven is the only one that hasn't been on the show yet, but now he's going to be. And then we're going to have him in the lounge for a full-on interview very soon. But I interview designers from all over the country all of the time. And they reveal stuff like this every single show, and it's amazing. So please go to iTunes and download and subscribe to it and listen. Give me comments, give me suggestions. Please, it's been my pleasure to do it. And that's really why I'm here. I also want to plug Universal one more time. They were so gracious to open up this amazing space for us. So we give them a real round of applause real quick. Please check out their showroom. It is humongous. I mean, go upstairs. They will feed you every time you come here. It is not a little tiny little thing like on some little counter over there. It's a 10,000 square foot cafe. It's really fantastic. So please take advantage of this while you're here throughout Market. They have great bathrooms, probably the best in High Point. Just saying. You can charge your phone. Great bathroom. All right. So we've got, actually, let me go Robin, because and then we'll come over here.
So each of you are successful, and despite what you say, Chad, about you being chilled out, I know you're still ambitious. You're all ambitious. I'd love to know what each of you are looking forward to expand your business. What is it that what's your goal, your immediate goal for the immediate future? Immediate? I mean, like, how to expand your business. What is it that's in your head right now of a way that
What's
you're
next?
looking forward to?
I can answer really fast. We are getting into hotels now. So we have our first hotel project in Dallas that we're doing. I want.
Tell you what FF&E means.
I think the more high-profile projects, we're looking at more high-profile projects because that's how we're going to expand the brand. For right now, it's hotels is what we're going into, and we're trying to do more of the luxury brand hotels. We're talking to MGM, we're talking to Dream. So hopefully, let's see how that goes.
Good luck.
Yeah, international. I'm looking international. I really enjoy the speaking to the circuit and doing education. So I'm looking towards doing some international speaking. I've been approached. I did do Maison, the first American panel to speak there. That was great. That was really fun. And that's what kicked it all off for me, but the educational part, so.
I think I'll marry a business developer. Actually, one of the greatest things in my life right now is, my fiance. But what I mean by that is that because I've come to a point in my life where the sort of straightforward interior design thing is happening, now the two of us get to dream together. And so we're investing, we're doing an online platform for design, we're opening the Favreau factory in Boston, and we're actually in development for a television show that's being pitched to Bravo, OWN, HBO, and Netflix right now called The Monk and the Showman. Guess who is who? So we have a lot of exciting things together going on that I love.
Dollsville. So I've achieved so many of those goals, and so, but I do set, I have a 5-year plan, and in that 5-year plan is, mailbox money. It's really kind of hit me in the past couple of years that, what's next, and what's going to carry me into my later years, and am I going to schlepp furniture when I'm, 65 years old? Probably so, yeah. People talk about retirement, and I'm like, what is retirement? So I think, one of our big things right now is how to achieve more of the mailbox money, so.
Is that everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Very briefly. Besides for
Chaise Lounge.
what podcast do you recommend focused on this business? And
There's only one. Just saying.
Like I said, besides for Chaise Lounge, and also, what software do each of you use to keep your businesses organized, and how? Or maybe you don't use software.
We use Studio, and we've used it. I've used it for years. Back when it was another company, I don't use it, and I will tell you, there was a question, what's one of your regrets? I wish, everyone in my company knows how to do every single thing except for dummy right here, because I'm like, I can't do it, I don't have time for that. So I wish that and in full disclosure, I did for about 3 weeks try to learn, and my CPA, in-office CPA, came to me and said, listen,
Just design.
stop. You're messing it all up. So anyway, so Studio, but then also a podcast. James Swan, who I know we've both been on, and I love his podcast. And then also, help me guys.
Well-designed business.
Thank you. Well-designed business, Luann. She is Niagara, yes. Luann, I feel, and I'm very forthright and very blatant about everything. When my team was like, you're doing this podcast, I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I don't want to talk about business, And I'm going to tell you, I'm so glad that I did it.
He liked it so much, but I think we did it 3 times.
True story. Right. So anyway, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. But honestly, I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I've done other podcasts just because, it opens your eyes up and, these questions, and it kind of, goes from there.
All of the above. James Swan, for no other reason than that voice. It's very sultry. Yes.
The only one I like is the Chaise Lounge. Who are the other people? Who are they? Who's James
That's why
Swan?
this is my favorite.
I don't know who they are. No, but obviously the same ones. $1 Million Decorator is a good one, but Chaise Lounge is better. And then that's it. Software. So we use everything. We use QuickBooks, we use SketchUp, we use Revit, we use CAD. We do it all because we do architecture and design.
Right. I use Midoma because I don't like studio. That's me with Studio Webware. The learning curve was just way too much for me. I couldn't. I wanted to throw the computer right out the window. So anything that doesn't look pretty and really easy or much like my phone, I'm not interested. I just can't do it. I can't. So I use Room Styler for my 3D. If I don't have a CAD artist, if I need something 3D right away, it's so friggin' easy. It's ridiculous. And the renderings are incredible. And then I use Midoma just for the client management services system, where I can communicate with my clients back and forth, send them, proposals, et cetera. And then if I'm going to put together a deck, I'm simply on Pages. I'll throw together Pages or a Keynote, depending on what you use. Same idea, like you're doing a PowerPoint. It's really easy to, send it off a PDF. Here's the inspiration, here's some pictures. If you have to do stuff online, it's really easy. And then the other podcast, the same. Ditto that.
So I'm going to answer your question. So one of our sponsors is Design Manager, and they have a great Design Manager, and they've got 30-day free trial, 90-day money-back guarantee, and a lot of support. So they take over so that's everything. You don't have to use QuickBooks with it. It's 100% all in. And then my other podcast that I would recommend to you is the podcast that got me into podcasting. And it's mine, and it's called Small Business Naked. And I interviewed small businesses from Inc. and Entrepreneur Magazine from all over, and just had a blast doing it.
Why don't you just call it the Naked Chaise Lounge? Naked on the Chaise Lounge.
I figured I had to be a little bit more concerned. Yeah, and we're reviving it actually right now. So it's been in dormant, but we're bringing it back. Yes.
Yeah, I know. Robin's dying, and you can answer it. But I think obviously, before we would only have our work published in magazines. That was pretty much, unless you were on TV, you were in a magazine, and that was it. And the platforms are so aplenty, And we can do our own platforms. You are your own rock star. You can be your own rock star. You can have your own YouTube channel all about your own design. And you've made your own channel. You are a star. So that's a really loose term now. And because of that, we're able to interact with people much more easily. So I have somebody say, what's that wall color? What kind of furniture did you use? What's on? You know, they're seeking inspiration from you. You've now become an authority. And so you can share. And so we just share things. The walls are down because the information is there. Right. So you'd be a fool to not share it. It's available. It can be found. They are. We're not using goods that are necessarily to the trade only all the time. And that's a really loose term now too. Because we have, buying sites, and so your clients can shop you like no tomorrow. Right. So things have changed in all of those respects. So it just because we become such a small world, a really tiny small world that can talk to each other very easily.
Well, I think it's social media.
Right.
Hands down.
Right.
No, there's
Yes, you can.
So I am not an interior designer. I have nothing to do with this world. But I do have to say, I've been to so many of these presentations. Nick, you were amazing in how you went through each person. Absolutely. And I think you might have prepared a little bit and knew who you were talking, to whom you were talking, to extract really important information. As a business developer, I'm like extracting information. The second thing is, Steven did share, I was a monk for 34 years, and I believe in the universal principles that govern everything, from business, life, spirituality, it's all the same. And one thing that I found in this panel is the humility that each one of you have. Now, I've seen a lot of panels, and I don't roll my eyes, but I'm dying inside because I'm ADD, I get bored easily. I was not bored. And each one of you shared the limelight. It was like you didn't come up here with an ego, and I see ego a mile away. And I don't know how you are outside of this, but here, yeah. But except for Kelli, it was beautifully orchestrated because it was authentic and it was sincere. And of course, I'm proud of my fiance Steven Favreau and all that he does and we do together, but I actually enjoyed this whole thing. And it's the first time that I've enjoyed it, other than traveling the back roads of Barcelona with the Baroness and Steven, hearing them talk for hours about interior design. Yeah. So thank you so much for making this enjoyable for someone that's not in the industry.
Thank you. It was nice. Yeah. Any other questions?
Oh, my email responder? Oh, yeah, I literally do it through Gmail. So even my Kelli at KelliEllis.com comes to my Gmail account. I created a vacation responder that's like forever, my forever vacation. It kind of makes me happy when it says, do you want to turn off your vacation responder? No. I'm on vacation forever. And so it's an autoresponder. And it says, thank you for contacting us. We check our
I don't know. Let me get it out for you.
Yeah, exactly. We check our emails twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. We will get back to you within 24 hours to 48 hours. That's it. And I buy myself time. The minute I said that, I took a breath. It was glorious. Glorious. Yeah, it was fantastic. I highly suggest it. It gives you some data.
Do you know what the app is for the phone?
No, but no.
Google it.
Yeah.
Google it. We'll find it. We'll find it.
No,
Yeah.
don't.
One last question.
Okay. Yes.
I think most of us as designers maybe have a niche, especially the four of you are very confident in what area you specialize in, whether it's staging, high-end luxury. How did you find your niche? Was it an organic path? Was it something that you found some interest, joy? Did it just land on your lap?
Interest-based.
Just follow your passion.
Yeah. So passion sucks is not entirely true.
That's true. There we go.
If you have no passion, you will never succeed, especially in a creative field like this. So you have to have passion, but don't be a starving artist. Like, learn the business side of it too. But it's really what interests you. I am obsessed with contemporary and forward-thinking design. I will never be a traditional designer. I don't take those clients. It's my interest. It's my passion. It's my love. It's in my body is contemporary contemporary design. And so it's my interest, which is why it became my niche.
And also, keep pushing your clients that you're having this respect for who they are and what their dream is for their home. But what they're doing at the end of the day is they want to filter sort of all of this possibility of that they don't know how to pull together through you, the professional. And so that means you can influence and you can constantly push in a respectful way to get the design that also represents you. I always tell my staff, don't specify something you hate. I mean, look at what's out here in High Point. There is something that you're going to love for your, shabby chic client, maybe. If you don't like shabby chic, there's still something you're going to find. So keep being who you are. Don't be a decorator, be a designer. And scene.
So to the point of passion sucks, the reason why I actually titled this that is because I talk to designers all the time. Every designer I've ever talked to says they're passionate about design. Every single one of them. And there's maybe 5% that I meet that are successful. And that's why I asked these folks to be on here, and that's why I think there's a difference. I think everybody that comes to High Point's passionate about design, but you've got to go beyond that. You really do. And thank you so much for spending an hour with us. And enjoy Market. Thank you.